Alec Baldwin is a famous Hollywood actor with hundreds of movies under his belt. But on October 21st, 2021, he made a fatal mistake that would change the movie industry forever. Welcome back, everyone, to True Crime Desk. I'm Richard. And today we're going to go over the Alec Baldwin case, where we're at now, some of the evidence that they have. And what I plan on doing is I'd like to either live stream the trial or either record the trial and then do commentary over it. I'm not sure how to do that yet. I haven't recorded my screen before. I've never done that type of video. But I really want to go over that. It's coming up soon. I think it's next month. I'm in June right now. And so that's what my plan is. Kind of get you guys up to speed, kind of get into it, and then we'll move on from there. All right? So let's get going. On October 21st, 2021, while filming the Western movie Rust at Bonanza Creek Ranch in Santa Fe, New Mexico, Alec Baldwin accidentally fired a live round, killing his cinematographer and injuring his director. All right, one of the first things I did is I typed in his name to see what information would come up. And the first paragraph that I was able to find said that he fired a live round out of a prop gun. Well, that statement right there is false. And see, you're going to find out in this case that that's one of the biggest problems is that these people that are dealing with these firearms have no idea what they are. It's not a prop gun. Any gun or any firearm that's capable of firing a live round is a real gun. It's not a prop gun. A prop gun is inert. It's going to look like a real gun, might even be the same weight, but it's either fixed permanently so it doesn't work. So you're not capable of firing a live round. That is a prop gun. This was not a prop gun. And so that's one of the first problems you're going to see. But that's besides the point. Anytime you have a firearm or anything in your hand, airsoft or anything else, you always act like it's a real gun and you always treat it that way. Now, to be honest with you, it's pretty scary the way this industry has been run. I mean, after doing some of the research that I did, I'm really surprised that more people haven't been K'd. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's so many of these so-called experts. Everybody claims they're a firearm expert or a gun expert. And some of these people that are put in charge, it's pretty sketchy. Now, like I stated earlier, it doesn't really matter whether it's a prop gun or not. I mean, it does as far as if it can fire and unfortunately hurt people. But I mean, is when it's in your hand, in your opinion, it's always a real firearm. So it doesn't really matter whether it's prop gun, real gun, plastic gun, airsoft gun. It doesn't matter. Anytime you have a firearm in your hand, you're responsible. You don't point it at anything you're not willing to destroy, and you keep your finger off the trigger at all times. That's just basic gun safety. So because of the lack of knowledge and recklessness, in my opinion, you had two people that were hurt. You had cinematographer Helena Hutchins, and you had the director Joe Souza, with Helena losing her life. That's just really, really sad. Now, I'm sure that you guys are well aware of where we're at this point, but I just wanted to get all that stuff out of the way, just in case you weren't 100% sure where we're at. So before we go any further, I just want to let you know who I am. You're probably thinking, who is this guy that's talking like he's an expert and all? First off, my name is Richard. That's obvious, as I said at the beginning. And I'm 56 years old. I'll be 57 next month because this is June. My birthday's July 1st. And so I have what you call life experience. That's number one. I've been around a while. Second thing is that I'm actually a gunsmith. So I've been around firearms. I have plenty of my own, quite a few actually. And I know what I'm talking about. So this really upsets me because you have, like I said, these people that are dealing with these firearms that claim they're experts. They're reckless. They're dangerous, in my opinion. And because of that, we had one beautiful woman that was taken away from us and her family. And it's just unacceptable. It's just not the way things need to be. The industry needs to change. And it really infuriates me because I constantly are hearing this information put out there about firearms and they don't know what they're talking about. One of the things you're going to hear, one of the things you hear all the time that irritates the crap out of me, which I talked about in another video, is they always will say casing, which is the little brass that's left. It's not a casing. It's a case. Case, singular. Case is plural. It's unbelievable how many people say the same thing. It's a CSI thing. It's not a casing. It's a case. And I can tell within about 2 minutes, less than that, for 5-6 seconds of talking to somebody, whether they even have any idea about firearms whatsoever. Just because you carry one for a living, just because you have one in the military, Just because not, and that's not disrespecting any of those people, because they're all brave and they're awesome people. But it doesn't mean they're a firearm expert. That just means they're capable, we would hope, and they've been trained in the firearm that they have. But it doesn't make them an expert, and that's the difference. And we have too many of those so-called experts out there. So with all that rambling out of the way, that's who I am. That's what I know. That's what I've done, and that's why I'm passionate about this case. That's why I want to do the video and want to go over this case, and that's why I want the industry to change, because we can't have this happen again. Now, when this case first came out and it was all over the place, I left a comment in somebody's video about that when the firearm, he was 100%. I mean, when I saw it, within the first 2 seconds that he was responsible. Firearms in his hand, he had it, he pointed it, it went off, and someone was K'd, and another person was injured. So 100% responsible. It was easy for me to say that immediately. So I left a comment on a video, and in the comment, I basically said the same thing, that he's responsible. I had somebody reply, I don't know who it was, that said, I don't know what I'm talking about, because the industry is different. The movie industry is different than real life, I guess. And that you're not allowed to check the firearm as an actor. Now, at that point, I wasn't 100% sure whether he was telling me the truth or not. I thought about it, thought, well, that's stupid. And I replied that it just shows me how bad the industry is. And I would never, ever want to be in that, because that would never happen to me. If you put a firearm in my hand, I'm going to check it. You're not going to tell me I can't. So if that was the truth, that would be ridiculous. But since then, I've done a little bit of research, and so we're going to go over some of that. So what I did is I went and looked up the SAG guidelines, which is the Screen Actors Guild, and basically their guidelines of what they expect their actors and actresses to do. And so we're going to go over that. We're going to see whether he was responsible or not, according to SAG. Now, under performance, it says, actors are not expected to be experts on guns or experienced in their use. If asked to point and shoot directly at a living target, they should consult with the armorer for safety procedures. Now, as you can see there, it doesn't say anything about loading or unloading the firearm. But under the loading section, it says, only the armorer, prop master, or experienced persons under their supervision should load firearms. Cast and crew who need to be near firing sequence should be allowed to witness the loading. All right, so if you see in that loading guideline right there, the second part, obviously the first part says that experienced people with the firearms are supposed to load them. The actors are not supposed to do that, so that part is true. But it also says in the second half there that you can or you should be present when it's being loaded. Now, anybody that's dealt with firearms and knows the basic safety rules, if somebody hands you a firearm, you don't just take it and point it at somebody. You would feel a lot safer if you're standing right next to them and you see it's empty, and then you watch them load it and you know what's put in it. In other words, it's just being responsible. So the fact that he's not able to load it, according to SAG, that part is true. But he is able to be there. He is able to be able to see what's put in it, so he knows what's going on. And he chose not to do that. As far as I know, as far as I can remember, he was inside the church. The scene was in a church. He's sitting there waiting, I guess. And I think she loaded it outside on a cart that she had, that's a whole other deal. And then it was brought into him. It was brought in, I think, to the director, given to him. But it doesn't matter. The point is that he wasn't there to see it being loaded. He had the opportunity to, and he chose not to. Now, if I seem like I'm a little amped up or passionate or whatever you want to call it, it's because this kind of stuff is ridiculous to me. It drives me crazy because, like I said, being a gunsmith and all, and knowing about it, it's like, it's so reckless. It's so unnecessary. And to see these people just try to get away from it, and try to get out of it, and act like they didn't do anything wrong, it's infuriating. The gun is in your hand. You are responsible. Period. All right, with those two out of the way, let's see what SAG says about handling. Firearms should always be treated as if they are loaded, even if the armorer hasn't loaded them. The muzzle should be pointed in a safe direction away from people, and the trigger should not be touched unless required for the scene. As an actor, you are ultimately responsible for your own safety and the safety of your fellow cast members. Now, as you can see, according to the guidelines and the laws of New Mexico, he is responsible for the firearm that's in his hands. It's like I've been saying all along. It says it right there, clear as day. You're ultimately responsible. Now, as far as his motion to dismiss goes, I know that it was denied. I know he has another opportunity, and I'm not going to go into that because I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to be putting out any false information. I just know that at this point, the trial is still happening. And of course, we'll be discussing this more when the trial starts and all that other stuff. The one thing I do know for a fact is that the SAG guidelines do not supersede New Mexico law. That I know for a fact. Now let's talk about Hannah Reed, who was the armorer on the set, and that she already had her trial. If you don't know, I'm sure you do. She was convicted of manslaughter, and she got a whole 18 months. Now, obviously, you can tell by the way I said it, I'm not happy with that. I think 18 months is a joke. I think it's an insult. Someone's life was lost, but I don't want to get into that because I'm going to get all fired up. But she was convicted of manslaughter, and she got 18 months. But if you guys want to go over more of that in the comments, you want to discuss it, am I wrong, am I not wrong, which I know I'm not. And we can discuss it in the comments if you want, but we'll go over it more when the trial comes out. But that's where I'm going to leave it for now. There is one final thing about Hannah Reed that I almost forgot, is that there is rumors I heard out there that it's possible that she might testify against him, which is kind of odd because everything I've heard is that she's not getting a deal. So they think that she might testify against him and she's not going to get a deal. So that would be interesting. I definitely would be interested in seeing that one. Now, Helena Hutchins was a beautiful woman from everything I've heard. Clearly she was visually, and she was a mother and a wife. So that 18 months is pretty pathetic. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this video. It's just a quick little update on what we have to look forward to and what the trial what they might say in the trial. I'm really interested if they're going to pull out some of those SAG guidelines. I really want to see that. They didn't do that in the first one, from what I remember. I don't think they did. So I'm really curious if they're going to do that, because it pretty much cooks his goose, I guess they'd say, in my opinion. So like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to live stream or what. I'll figure it out. I'm not sure. I haven't done it, but I definitely want to be involved in this case. Hopefully every day. I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens. So if you got something out of this video and you learned something new, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that like button, hit the bell, hit all that stuff. I would appreciate it. Tell your friends. And so until next time, guys, stay safe, stay curious, and remember to always mind your surroundings.